world title in everyone's imagination. That's the heavyweight champ. You were here. Everyone else was here. But since then, the feeling has been Joshua makes all this money fighting anyway, 30 million pounds, whatever it is. Why should he take 40 or 50 to fight Wilder when he's making against anybody? He can make 30, 40 million pounds, whatever it is.
No fantasy contracts, just reality. You know, bringing our worth to the table and bargaining and negotiating what we're worth and making this fight happen.
Mentality do you come in with? I ask because when you were slick, to me that looked like a better fighter. But maybe this is the kind of fight where you just need to impose your strength.
Anthony Joshua's calm confidence was on full display during his sit-down interview with Max Kellerman before his big fight with Jake Paul, a matchup that has shocked boxing fans and entertainment audiences alike. Joshua didn't just talk about game plans. He opened up about pressure, expectations, and the unusual spotlight on this fight. With Kellerman digging deeper, Joshua addressed the critics, the stakes, and what really motivated him to step into the ring with one of boxing's most controversial newcomers.
Or a heavyweight champion, you're an undefeated Olympic super heavyweight gold medalist, you're entering your physical prime, and you put 100,000 people in Wembley. So I get your argument. I have the economic clout. He's not coming in as partners. I should get a bigger slice of the pie. Let's have a realistic negotiation.
Kellerman, known for mixing technical analysis with a bit of dramatic flair, quickly addressed the obvious question. He said what everyone is thinking of: this is one of the strangest matchups in heavyweight boxing. Anthony Joshua, a former world champion, versus Jake Paul, an internet celebrity turned fighter. Why is this happening? It's the same question millions asked the moment the fight was announced. Joshua's answer shaped the entire direction of the interview.
Beat a guy like that, you're not gonna outbox him. If you're waiting on him and he's initiating and he's feinting you into counters and then he's countering.
When Kellerman asked what Joshua respected most about Jake Paul, Joshua replied calmly, "He's bringing new eyes to boxing." Joshua explained that even though Paul didn't come from a traditional boxing background, he is still taking huge risks. He's diving into deep waters, putting pressure on himself, and challenging top-level opponents. Joshua said that Paul's energy and willingness to push himself helps bring new attention to boxing, something he believes is good for the sport's growth.
Jake Paul, does he remind you of any guy that you fought before? Or is this a unique situation that you've never come across?
Very unique situation I've never come across, but treating with the same respect that I give all my competition.
So you got the mental fortitude, he's got the mental fortitude. But what's the one best thing that you pride Jake Paul of having that maybe you haven't seen in other competition you faced so far?
From a physical aspect, I couldn't even mention it at the minute. But from a mental aspect, he offered me the fight. Normally I'm offering people fights. He's told me, come and fight. So he believes in himself.
What does the word legacy mean to you, AJ?
Legacy, what does it mean? This is why I was actually asking someone, what does legacy mean? I don't even know.
The size difference between the two has become a major talking point, and for a good reason. Jake Paul has always been strong for his weight class, but when he stands next to Anthony Joshua, it becomes a true David versus Goliath moment. Joshua doesn't just stand taller, his entire physique shows the result of years competing as a heavyweight. Even though Paul has added muscle, he still can't match the natural size, strength, or presence of someone used to fighting full-sized heavyweights. The visual contrast alone is almost unbelievable.
Jake Paul versus AJ, as though Jake Paul is the bigger in this equation. Not for me. Maybe for MVP, Nikisa, Jake Paul, but not for me. I've kind of marked it or titled it David versus Goliath just because of the size difference. Like, Jake Paul's a big guy. He is. He's 6'1", 220. Probably fights around, the 200-pound mark. AJ is an enormous guy. Like, he's a big unit. And I think Jake realized that when they came face to face. I don't know if that's the first time they've ever come that close. I'm sure they've met behind the scenes. But I think there was a realization from Jake Paul, like, fuck, this is a big dude. It's a very, very big dude who isn't coming to play. Like, there was no play with AJ. That was a press conference that almost sounded like AJ versus someone in the top 10, where AJ's taking it seriously. He's answering the questions direct that Ariel's throwing him. There was no, yeah, we're here to kind of fuck around. This is going to be easy. Give me my money. Let me run back to the UK. This was AJ's like, no, we're taking this seriously. And that ain't a good thing for Jake Paul. It isn't. And AJ is that guy anyway. Like, I would never doubt that AJ would take this seriously. But for Jake Paul, I do wonder if realization is kicking in, or maybe he is just that delusional where he doesn't care. I do, and I've been sort of corrected by a few people who maybe know better, but I do think the Americans don't credit or rate AJ. I do think there's a bit of that. I remember when AJ did the rounds prior to the Ruiz fight, and there were a few people like, yeah, you're not that good. This was prior.
Nikki Sabidarian, CEO of Most Valuable Promotions, told Sky Sports that the December 19th fight is being set up as a massive global event. He admitted Joshua has far more experience, but said Jake Paul's extreme confidence might be the unpredictable X factor. He also revealed something surprising: the fight wasn't supposed to happen until 2026. But Paul pushed hard to make it happen now, and negotiations were fast-tracked to bring the matchup to life immediately.
Will there be a limit for Joshua?
So there's a lot of discussion around the weight. Joshua fought Usyk twice. Both of those times, Usyk was 221 pounds. Joshua was 240 to 245. When Jake fought Mike Tyson last year, 227 pounds. I expect Jake will come in anywhere between 225 and 230, and Anthony Joshua has a weight limit of 245 pounds.
There will be those, as you're aware, that will look at it and criticise this fight. There already have been, haven't there? They'll say it's a real mismatch. What would you say to them? Are we going to be watching sport at its purest?
I would say it's much less of a mismatch than what you saw with AJ and Francis Ngannou, who a massive man, but relatively no boxing experience. I would say it's much less of a mismatch than AJ's 9th or 10th fight against guys who've been knocked out 20 to 25 times. Given AJ's pedigree, Jake is built for this. Jake is built for the big moments. So do I think it's dangerous for Jake Paul? Absolutely. Do I think it's also dangerous for Anthony?
Alexander Usyk didn't hold back when giving his opinion. To him, the matchup isn't just mismatched, it's unrealistic. Usyk compared Joshua to a Rolls-Royce and Jake Paul to a small Fiat, saying there is simply no real comparison between an elite heavyweight and a social media star learning the sport. Usyk said the difference isn't just size, it's experience, fundamentals, and true boxing ability. He believes Jake Paul is putting himself in serious danger by stepping into the ring with Joshua.
Anthony Joshua is Olympic champion. Yeah. First. Jake Paul is, sportsman, YouTuber, showman. Rolls-Royce, Fiat. Listen, it's true. I thought I'm not by any otherwise.
Oh my god. I have nothing better in mind.
Yeah. It's just true. It's business, more money. Only this.
So we need to pray for Jake Paul.
Yes. I will pray Jake Paul because I want to fight with Jake Paul in octagon.
Yeah. Do you think that Joshua should be fighting Tyson Fury next year?
I want this fight. Yeah, I fan.
We've got 28 years old compared to 36 years old. So I guess the advantage there goes a little bit towards Jake Paul. 28-year-old is better than a 36-year-old. But that being said, we've got talking about experience and everything else. What comes with being 36 years old at Anthony Joshua's level. And then, like I mentioned, the heavyweights kind of seem to prime a little bit older. They'll come down to the height and the weight. This is the big one. 6'1" versus 6'6". 200 pounds versus 252 pounds. We got a 252 pounder in Anthony Joshua. The reach advantage is a lot, which we would expect. Amateur fights, we can see that Jake's only had one, where AJ's had 43, but 43 of them are including at the highest level, Olympic level. And yes, he won the Olympic bloody gold medal, if I don't need to remind you. Then the pro record, Jake Paul has had 13 fights, lost 1. AJ has had 28 fights and he's lost 4 with 25 KOs. And the one person that Jake Paul lost to was Tommy Fury. Now, can we compare Tommy Fury with Anthony Joshua? Not at all. It's like night and day. So now I'm going to talk about the rules of this fight, and I'll give you my prediction which is going to shock a lot of people after this. So, what are the rules? The bout will take place at a heavyweight, obviously. It's going to be 8 3-minute rounds. You might think, well, that's better for Jake Paul, and I'm thinking, not really. It's better for Anthony Joshua because he's just going to go all out for them 8 3-minute rounds. And imagine that, Anthony Joshua blasting at you, 6'6", whatever he is, 250 pounds, throwing big bombs at you. Anyway, both fighters will be using 10-ounce gloves for the duration of the contest. Why have they got that on there? It says both fighters will be wearing 10-ounce gloves for the duration of the contest. What do you expect? Them to take them off halfway through and switch them to 12s. But I guess these days, anything happens in boxing, right? The boys will follow similar rules to Jake Paul and Mike Tyson in November, but that fight was 8 2-minute rounds and 14-ounce gloves. Not similar if it's smaller gloves and 2-minute rounds. Who wrote this for dazn? It marks the first time Joshua will have contested less than 10 rounds